Aim is the cornerstone of Valorant. Professional players like TenZ and Asuna obliterate their competition with their insane reflexes and crispy headshots. Today we're going to be taking a look at tips and training that one of our Radiant analysts, Bugsy the Bean, used to achieve a top 500 act rank in NA Valorant. There are 4 main concepts that affect your aim that we're going to be looking at. Firstly, you need to find the right sensitivity to give you control over your crosshair. Next, we'll be looking into how Bugsy and a few pro players work on improving their aim. After that, we'll see how you should be warming up before hopping into your first match of the day. Finally, we're going to cover some tips on how to transition your aim in deathmatch into an actual game, one of the hardest parts of aiming. The first component to aiming, and one that holds back many newer and lower ranked players, is your mouse sensitivity. One of the questions that pro players and streamers often get is, what's your sense? And they almost always respond with whatever it is, followed by, but it doesn't really matter. This is true that your sensitivity is truly just preference, but only to an extent. While there's no secret god sense that will instantly improve your aim, there are clearly sensitivities that will hurt your gameplay in the long run. Our Radiant analyst Bugsy even made this mistake, starting to play CSGO with a sense roughly 16 times what he uses now. The rule of thumb is that you can use whatever sensitivity feels comfortable, as long as you still have a high level of precision, i.e. your sense isn't so high that it takes you a while to aim at a specific small dot. Let's quickly look at the method that Bugsy and most pros use to hone in on their preferred sense. Open up the range or a custom game, then choose a spot on the wall, or shoot a bullet at a plain wall to make a spot. And finally, try flicking to that spot in all different directions from different starting positions. If you are generally over-flicking, like going past the dot then correcting, try lowering your sense a bit. And if you are generally under-flicking, do the opposite. Go through this many times until it seems that you can just naturally flick to a spot on the wall. And now here, naturally is the key word. You should be able to do this quickly, but also with minimal effort. In-game, you have so many other things to be constantly considering, like enemy positions and utility, that by the time you think about your aim, you've already lost the gunfight. The final thing that Bugsy wants to stress is that once you find your golden sensitivity, you should resist the urge to change it. After missing a few shots, it may be tempting to go back to your 1600 DPI at 1 in the game, but don't. Consistency is the key when it comes to aiming. Finally, for those curious, Bugsy uses 400 DPI at 0.4 in-game. Improving your aim is just one piece of getting better at Valorant. It's really important that you take the time to master all other pillars of the game as well. This is why on our website we offer a bunch of courses dedicated to teaching you the fastest ways to improve all of your skills at the game and achieve the rank that you've always wanted. This is also backed by our rank improvement guarantee, so if you don't see the improvement you're looking for, it's literally no risk. Now we're going to get back into the video, but if you're looking for the fastest way to improve at Valorant, be sure to check out SkillCapped.com, and the link is in the description below. Now that you've found the sensitivity that's perfect for you, let's take a look at the routines that you can implement to improve your aim. Improving your aim is all about routine. There's no quick way to get high elo aim. There are many options that all work with varying levels of efficiency. For instance, you could just spam queue ranked matches and get better over time, however the issue is that that's slow. The best way to do it quickly is by using the game, or other tools to constantly be aiming at things. Game modes like Deathmatch and the Range are great for easily improving your aim. If you're really trying to get the most out of your time, you could even try Aim Labs or CSGO community deathmatches. But the key to getting better is by training your aim as much as possible. Whenever you have some free time, jump in a DM server and you will get better. Along with constant practice, warming up is still important to maintain performance. Your aim is almost completely muscle memory, so it takes a bit to get to peak performance. Warming up doesn't have to be as long or as sweaty as your improvement routine. However, playing a quick DM before your first game of the day will give you the edge you need to start off strong. One thing to constantly consider while you're DMing and in your games is your crosshair placement. I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times before, but making sure your crosshair is at head level and at an angle where enemies can peek is how pros aim so consistently. Everyone clips TenZ's insane flicks, but in reality, the vast majority of his kills come because the enemy walks into his crosshair. Making sure you're aiming as close to the enemy as possible before an engagement will give you less to do and let you react quicker. Eventually you'll do this by default without even thinking, but to get in the habit you should be constantly asking yourself 2 questions. 1. Is my crosshair at head level for the spot I'm aiming at? And 2. Is the angle I'm looking at somewhere where enemies can be? The first rule is easy to fix, but the second can require a bit of awareness. All too often, lower elo players are looking at an angle or even using utility at a spot that a teammate has already cleared. The best way to make sure you're holding a useful angle is by looking at the minimap and communicating with your teammates. Check that you're not starting at an entrance that has a teammate in it, or if a teammate has pushed deep, ask them what they've cleared, if anything. Often you'll get a response like, nobody can be B main. And with this info, if you're still holding B main, you should go and reinforce another spot by setting up a crossfire with a teammate. This transitions us perfectly into our last topic. Does it ever feel like you only miss your shots once you've started a ranked match? You may be tapping every head in a deathmatch, but you just can't aim as soon as it matters. In this last section, we'll look at some tips that will help you transfer your aim to games that matter. The reality of it is that your aim will always probably be worse in actual matches because you just have so much more to consider. However, you can minimize this by improving your game sense and counterintuitively focusing less on your aim. Firstly, as I mentioned before, most kills come from someone just running into pro players' crosshairs. The best way to have players run into your crosshair is to be able to predict where and when the enemies will peak. Having such a high level of game sense will ensure that you have the advantage in the vast majority of duels that you take. Paying attention to the minimap, communicating well with your team, and reacting to enemy utility can help you foresee peaks. However, game sense is an extremely complex topic, and you should watch some of our Smurf commentaries and dedicated guides to get a better handle of it. The next best tip we can give you to improve your in-game aim is to forget about it. It may sound funny, but you actually just want to let your muscle memory do the aiming. Overthinking your shots can cause you to react slowly or whiff easy shots from behind. Also, aiming is highly mental. You are going to miss shots. Nobody hits 100% of their bullets. Another aspect of making sure you let your muscle memory aim is not to get tilted. When players tilt, they often start letting their head take over, and it leads them down a slope of missing more and more shots. To aim well in games, use your game sense to influence your crosshair placement and let your body do the rest. And as we mentioned before, if you're looking for the fastest way to improve at Valorant, we highly recommend checking out all of the courses we have available on our website. We hope we were able to break down everything you need to know about aiming today. Aiming is a complex topic and at the center of improving at Valorant. Getting better at aiming takes time, but with dedication to practice, making sure to warm up before matches, and crosshair placement, you'll find yourself winning more fights. Don't let a bad game or a singular whiff tilt you. Make sure to focus on the game and let your instincts aim for you. We hope this guide will help you rank up in Valorant, and as always, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.